Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Ideas Unplugged. And I'm always looking for people who are doing something different, something interesting, especially at times like this when we are going through a very highly changing world. And here with
Yes,
me is somebody I met about almost 3 years ago now,
3 years.
Harsh Kothari, who started Neon Gaming Studios. And that was the first time I saw gaming in the state of Gujarat in Baroda. And this was like at a pretty large mall, at the Eva Mall. And since then, he has been doing a lot of online gaming. So, Harsh, tell us about you. How did you end up doing gaming, and what was your background like? What brought you into gaming?
Since I was in a boarding school when I was in 10th grade, and over there I played Road Rash for the first time in the computer lab. Before that, I used to play games, but on the consoles at home. And then when I played that, my teacher over there told everybody in the class that this guy plays really well. You know, you should watch up to him. And that triggered something in me about gaming because after 10th grade, I came back to Baroda, and 11th and 12th all along I was spending most of my hours gaming in a cafe and understanding what the game is about, what the community is about, how people interact, how people see each other, how they value each other. Like if you are really good at gaming, automatically your status in the community is like a top notch. Like everybody calls you like, oh my god, he's the god, you know, he plays the best, he will thrash you and this and that. So okay, so that is an experience that I got with gaming at a very early age. With that, I also learned about how gaming was evolving. Back then, we could see pixelated games, you know, on the screen, and we would play only on LAN with people who are sitting together and playing with each other. After my 11th and 12th, I went and did my computer engineering from Vellore Institute of Technology in south of India, one of the very good technology colleges, and their computer science was amazing. So there I met this Chinese group of people who would have their whole room tied up with repeaters and routers, and everybody would have their own LAN cables. And when I entered the room, I saw like these people are doing nothing but gaming. All that setup was for gaming. And I'm like, okay. And at that time, the most popular games that they would play, they are most Chinese players are most strategic players. So they would play a lot of strategy games. And so they were playing Dota and League of Legends, and StarCraft was very famous with that group, with ethnicity. And so at that time in our dorms also, we had people playing racing games, we had people playing Counter Strike, Age of Empires. So that triggered gaming into me. It always kept it alive into me that okay, gaming is one part of my life which is always alive, where you are in a virtual world and you have a chance to prove your talent or your smartness or your practice. Whatever you have practiced, you can perform. So it also takes a lot of practice to learn those games, because every game has a different dynamics, different rules, set of rules that we have to apply to, and the way the timing works with the game. So it was all very fascinating to me. At the same time, I was also a part of college committee for gaming in VIT in second and third year of my tenure at VIT, and over there we organized these games. So I had hands-on experience with understanding that what is the demand, what kind of people are coming to play there. Like students from all the universities around VIT would come to their cultural fest and register for this kind of events and for this kind of gaming tournaments. So that kept gaming, it drove something in me. Like I already was very fond of games in real life, like carom, or let's say I was a very good volleyball player. I also liked horse riding. So all of that, and then I went to virtual world where your brain is working and in certain set of rules which are probably defined by the game, and you are competing with somebody else like you could do it in volleyball. And that was fascinating. Like uh, I was not playing against computer alone, because a lot of primary games which came out before, they were against computers or beating your own time. It is a single player game that you are playing, but now you could do that multiplayer and you can play against somebody else, and or with somebody else, team up with somebody else and achieve your results. So that gave me a very good trigger. Still, it was not the only focus I had at that time. I was very much into, like, I want to make a career, I want to go this, I want to study more. So by the end of the engineering, I I realized that gaming was one thing that was picking up, because it was in 2011 that actually is one of the biggest milestones in the gaming industry, where Valve Corporation in US announced a $1 million prize pool for the game in Dota 2. And the community and social media went haywire, like, oh my god, it's real. Before that, it was like $100,000, and that's about it, not a million. Nobody would even think of that sort of prize money awarded for playing games. And suddenly there was a huge outburst of fans and of gamers who would take interest and who would want to follow every professional player and professional teams, and they would cheer it up. And then there was like something that is in FIFA or in cricket, right? We have Manchester United, we have India as a best cricketing team, Manchester United as one of the most renowned football clubs in the world. And similarly, this started happening in esports, in the computer game scene. And in no time, because it was all online, the community grew, and there were people around the globe who were following these games and teams, and who were, the crowds were going bonkers over the very good plays that were made by some of these players. So in 2014, it was the seed of Neon Gaming Studio where it actually started. Back then, it was called Neon Gaming, and we did one of the online tournaments for Indian circuit in 2014 for the game of Dota 2. It was 1v1. It was not full 5v5. It was one person playing against another person, only in the mid lane. Uh, and we back then we didn't have anything, so we mostly promoted through word to mouth, and also Facebook. Facebook was a huge help at that time as well, because the pages that we made then, people came and people saw us through Facebook. So after doing that, I had a group of people, like all of the people whom I was studying in engineering, our group, everybody was a gamer. So they all showed interest. They all tagged along. They were like, okay, yeah, let's do something in gaming space. So we tried, and we continued those operations of Neon Gaming for a year. And then I had my study commitment. Similarly, my other partners, they had to go study. One of the partner went studied in UK, again, game design and animation. So, and then I went to SP Jain in Mumbai, and I did FMB, management and family managed business. And in that time also, I would actually, at that time, what I would do is, they would give me assignments to do and perform those assignments with regards to your family business. Now I would take those assignments and do it for Neon Gaming. I would actually work out all my numbers, all my things according to Neon Gaming at the market, whatever the market was at that time, and I would submit it with uh, my family business as well. So When that happened, and when I was understanding that gaming has a very big potential worldwide it was already booming. But then I went deeper into Indian markets. Why is it not that in India it is not happening in such scale or at such high levels, when people already in India also we have smart talent, we have people who play, we have people who actually put in those hours, who are dedicated. Then why is it not professionalized? Why do they don't have any platform where they can actually perform and showcase their talent? And when I dug deep, it came out that in India there were a lot of scams before in esports space. So any of the foreign teams or institutes or organization, they never saw India on the map of esports. They never even thought that India could create talent or India could bring in some value to the entire esports ecosystem. And that was the opportunity. That was one of the major opportunities that I thought that, okay, if we somehow try and put India on the global map, it will, we will do a great favor to all the Indian gamers and all the esports enthusiasts in India. So then I had to go for an exchange to Netherlands. I saw gaming happening there in Europe, in the first world, and I I got a good support from my classmates over there, and they were all from different parts of from the world, and they all thought that this idea had a potential, and they all pushed me into this direction. That okay, if you want to do gaming, then that is what you should do. You should not try and focus somewhere else, but you should focus on what you want to do. And there's LX, I remember. There's other few names I could take who actually pushed me and who would spend hours talking to me about what I wanted to do in my life, which gave me a lot of initial boost to come back to India and start something of my own. Otherwise, it is very, you are always in two minds when you want to start something. That do you want security? Do you want your life to be really secured, and you want your money and your fame with the already established firms that you go and work with, or do you want to choose a different path? And so when I jumped into it, I thought, oh, it's a startup, I'll get funding, and then the life will be good, and I would have founded something. And that was the excitement. But that excitement came because of this kind of peer support that I got in when I was studying in Netherlands. So, and one more very big support, I generally don't mention him, but I think he deserves it. It's my dad. He deserves it the most. When I was going to Netherlands, he told me that go study if you want to go study. But whatever you started, because I started this in 2014, he said to me that whatever you have started, don't let it just go. Pursue it, see where it takes you, learn from it, understand what it is. So that when I was in Netherlands, I was not really uh, focused on settling down there and getting a job down there and making my fortune there. But I was understanding that if I come back to India, if I start this, I'll have something from India which can be portrayed in the global landscape, which would be amazing, because in 2015 there was no such esports organizations which were actually well known in from India. So that was the motivation of how I came back in January 2016. 1st January, I shifted myself from Baroda to Mumbai. Before that, I did a little bit of homework when 3 months, because I came here in September. So October, November, December of 2015, I did a couple of meetings in Mumbai. I explained my ideas over there, and people were willing to help me out to settle, to find me talent from local colleges in Mumbai, like as an interns, who can help me with my dream. So I set it up all in this 3 months, and then I went to Mumbai for like 1.5 years, where we not only developed one of the biggest IPs of those times in India, but also uh, in the entire Mumbai market, people started taking esports seriously. They started seeing it as a money-making business, like an event management company or somebody who wants to have a good sponsorship and good amount of money and good gala event. Esports was it because it was technologically advanced. It had all the perks. It had audience. It had people coming and playing. It was a sport at the end of the day. So it was like anything but kabaddi or cricket or something like that. Not at that level, obviously, because in India, cricket is like religion. But still, it is a sport, and people uh, took it very seriously, and we produced Indian Esports Championship in 2016, November of 2016, which was one of the biggest championship in 2016 that India had seen. And we have all the testimonials and videos of players, and they were like, "Oh my God, what they have done! This is something which we never expected that Indian scene could have." We also supported esports team. One of our teams went to Paris, ASWC, played for India in Paris for Counter Strike. So all of this milestones that we achieved day after day, day after day, and when we kept doing it with the community, with the help of community, obviously, me alone, this industry is so big, I couldn't do anything alone. But when I have the support of community, when I have this people coming in and this energy that we form, and when we delivered on certain things, it was magical. Those moments are worth living for, and those moments are the moments which gives me those affirmations that no, you are on a right path. Maybe you are not sound financially right now because you are in a startup ecosystem, and startups always have those financial problems that they go through. So all of that and more, like dealing with the team at a young age, dealing with young people, very enthusiastic, but also very fresh out of the like in the market. They don't have work X so much, and they are fresh out, and then you have to make them understand, or you have to understand them, that how do they do things and incorporate those things into the startup ecosystem. So all of that gave me constant, I would say, constant motivation, at least for me, to keep going ahead with it. That okay, wherever there are not any startup is there without any difficulties that they have failed. All the startups face some of those difficulties, and they go through their own life cycles. We have also gone through that, but gaming is young. Gaming industry is very young. It has fresh blood coming in, fresh talent coming in every minute. When you see on the, now it has boomed, but 5 years ago, when in 2016, 2015, we are talking about, when there were no mobile games, mainly gaming was PC gaming. And in that times also, we had a lot of people who supported this, a lot of people who didn't understand this, or who were against gaming culture at like uh, and they were against because of the kind of games that we have in the gaming industry, where so dealing with those sentiments, dealing with that kind of market, very dynamic market. Everybody here, every gamer here wants to be a star, and to deal with that, to understand their perspective, and to give them a chance, a platform where they could showcase their talent, where they could actually stand in the society that okay, I am a gamer, but yeah, I make my fortune, or I'm playing like a cricketer. A cricketer would get a stature more than a prime minister here in India, I think. You know, so this is what was the dream that we saw when we wanted to do neon gaming and to start with it.
Wow. So very interesting, and I can see a passion for gaming. Now that we are in the pandemic, now that people are not allowed to go around, has gaming increased, decreased? What's the status?
Gaming in general have increased because a they are at the home, not per se. Let's say they are not only playing all the esports games, but they are playing Ludo, they are playing Pictionary, they are playing all the games that you name it. Intellectual, housey, they are playing Tambola so much these days. So gaming has increased for two reasons. One, they can kill time, or they can use better time. It is like to learn something or to uh, keep your mind fresh, and they are using it for that. And second is they get a lot of content out of it. If they are playing, and if they are playing good, and if they make a video out of it, that content goes out viral and people are like million followers within no time. All the gamers in India, mobile gamers in India, they have more followers than any of the celebrities today.
Wow.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Would you
So
like to show us an online game? Maybe is it? Could you
uh,
share the screen and show us how
so
online gaming works and what's like what's the in thing these days?
so the content that comes out today, I can probably go on internet and show you a little bit. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
So if you see Carrie Minati, he's one of the one of the famous YouTubers who has a lot of content. He has 23.7 million subscribers. Now he is not a professional gamer, but what he does is he creates content and puts it out with gaming bits into it,
Uh-huh.
making it funny, making it, in collaboration with anybody. So this Yalgar Carrie Minati, which was posted 1 month ago, has 132 million views.
Wow, let's have a look at it. Very interesting. That's bigger than
So
most videos.
this is the music that he made.
Can you? I can't hear the sound.
How do I?
Do you have if you are using any audio device, you'll have to remove that so we can hear it.
I'm.
Are you using speakers or something like that, or
I'm. It's a laptop speaker.
yeah? So there's a way in which you can share the sound. Let me pause it.
Okay.
Okay, great.
So this is the video or a song, Yalgar song, that Carrie Minati's video channel, Carrie Minati's made, and it has gotten 132 million views in 1 month. That is how big. This also shows how dynamic is the gaming community, because
Wow.
this guy started it as a gamer, started creating content as a gamer. In fact, when he started doing videos, his USP was using all the slangs in the Hindi language,
Yeah.
and people started following him for that. Okay, so
Yeah.
that
Can you
can
show
be.
us the video? You'll have to
Yeah,
expand the screen. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Now I am doing that.
Yes.
So this is the video that his channel is created. This is the guy.
तो कैसे हैं आप लोग? एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, जलने वालों की तो रूह भी जलानी है। एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, इनकी भूख भी तो मैंने ही मिटानी है। इनको क्या पता मैंने करी कितनी मेहनत, सारी बातों से था मैं पूरा सहमत। सारी जिंदगी इन्होंने मुझको रुलाया, इनको भी तो मिला था जो मैंने कमाया। रोते रोते भी इनका धंधा मैंने चलाया, फिर भी इन्होंने सारा धंधा मेरा खाया। ये सारी इनकी माया, इनका ही खाना साया, वीडियो क्यों के पूरे देश का दिल दुखाया। इन्हें लगता है मैं एक फकीर हूँ, अगर ये हाथ है तो मैं इनकी लकीर हूँ। जिन हाथों ने है मुझको दबाया, उन हाथों की तो देख बेटा मैं जंजीर हूँ। इंग्लिश में गाली देने वाले लगते कूल, हिंदी में देने वाले लगते इन्हें फूल। फूल से भरा देख मेरा पूल, तो मैं हो गया आगे प्रिंसिपल पर मैं हूँ पूरा स्कूल। एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, चलने वालों की तो रूह भी जलानी है। एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, इनकी भूख भी तो मैंने ही मिटानी है। एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, चलने वालों की तो रूह भी जलानी है। एक कहानी है जो सबको सुनानी है, इनकी भूख भी तो मैंने ही मिटानी है।
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't hear your voice when you were showing us the video. So tell us about the video. Why did it become so viral? 127 million in a month. That's amazing.
Yeah. So what I was trying to tell you is that how he created this community around him. He started with games. He started putting, his first video was about him playing Counter-Strike or something. And from there, he step by step grew his community, his fan following, his subscriber base, and to this point where he's, I don't think any of the Bollywood songs get 132 million views in 1 month.
And what's interesting is that, at least from a music perspective, it doesn't stand out that much. But he has a mass following, looks like. Was he a great, is he a great gamer?
Yeah, he has cool plays. He plays very, he's not professional. He's a streamer. He doesn't follow a routine and work with his teammates and do it for a professional living. He streams for his own gameplays. I think he got the hype because of his interaction, the way he interacts, the way he abuses a little bit in the videos when he's playing. So all of it. But this is all, we have to understand that this is all the 90% of Indians are, or the community that he's followed by is. They want this. They want to experience this. And that is what he has created.
So my question is, of course, gaming is a rage among teenagers and young adults, but the senior people worry about it because it can be addictive. People can get stuck with it, and they may lose focus. What do you think about that?
I would say for those people that 10 years ago, 20 years ago, gaming was not a career. Now, when I say I'm a businessman or if I'm doing a business, it's still addictive. I have to do business every single day. And if that business gets me money, I can live a good life. Similarly, this is about gaming. If that gaming every single day can make you some fortune and you can lead a good life, why not game?
Interesting. And what about gamification? I mean, I am in the field of education, and I see that practically everything from Duolingo to all kinds of educational software are becoming more like games. They seem to be doing well.
Yeah. So I was going through actual, what does gamification mean? And I saw this and I'm reading it out loud. The application of typical elements of game playing, example, point scoring, competition with others, rules of play, to other areas of activity, typically as an online marketing technique to encourage engagement with product or service, is gamification. So when we are talking about education, when we are talking about any other field, if we take certain elements of game and club it with whatever existing procedures are there for teaching or for training or learning, uh, drawing, creating, anything, you name it. We if we put this 3-4 elements of game, take it and paste it on those modules as well, it is gonna be fun for people to actually go through those modules. Then thinking like, oh, I have to learn this so that I get a job, or I get a better placement or better understanding. But what games does typically is that at every single time it tells you if you are better or not, if you are good or not, how much progress you can make, what kind of scores you are getting. This is all, and how you are competing with others. Like, this is percentile kind of a system where on 100 people you are probably, I'm 90 percentile, I'm not 100 percentile, I'm 10 below, but I still have that scope, and that can be shown in a gamified way, or that procedures can have uh, a point or scoring system which tells me at every given point in my journey of learning that thing that, oh, this is where you stand and this is how much more you can go. So
Now,
it is.
another thing is that, Harsh, gamification and games have been used a lot in competitive ways. Could you use it for example, encouraging cooperation, or they're used for, like, literally people get so fanatic when it comes to games, right? Is it possible
Yes.
to use it for other applications where certain different behaviors are needed?
Yes. Shankata, if we look closely with games, when it is used as a competition as well, first, there is a inner team cooperation which competes against another team cooperation, right? So internally, when these teams are playing, they have to cooperate. They incorporate cooperation. They have to play with each other, not against each other. When this team plays with each other, they are then put against somebody who are the similar kind and playing the similar kind of sport or a game. So similarly, here the cause can be anything like terrorism is a group of people who are cooperating, and now we have to create a group of people who are anti-terrorism, who are also cooperating and solving those problems which are against humanity, which are against the human growth, or the where we want to head. If they are against it, and if we want to so that is possible, because then what we create is something where we give rewards and points on based on your cooperation, on based on how well you have achieved your goals which are set in the games. So it is always, and it becomes the way, I believe, to actually make people interact, cooperate, and come out with some positive results, because
Great.
people would result as well.
And when you've been doing this for more than 5 years now, where do you see Neon Gaming Studios going? What's the next? You've been a lot of commercial games, and what's the next arena for you?
Um,
And how have you grown with it? Has it changed your life?
yes, definitely. I mean, gaming has shown me that I had a lot of anger issues. I had a lot of like self-doubt issues. If you have all those in games, you are never winning. You will never be able to win, because there's always some trigger point which may trigger you and you can get angry in the course of the game. There's always some point when you have to believe in yourself and do that extra mile or extra step to actually make a game winning move that you actually make, and then you win the game, overcoming your fears, overcoming your self doubts. So these are the things in real life, if we can relate, and how it can help us enhance all those skills that we would want to have in real life to navigate through this world in a positive way. uh, so that gaming has already shown a major impact. Also, it gives you a very, people might call it addiction, but actually it makes you practice so much. You are doing it so many times, the same thing, that you start becoming good at it. You start learning it, understanding the entire world of it. Yeah, how am I gonna win this situation? How am I gonna stand up with my team, right? So gaming has always been a mentor, I believe, in a way, that when you are gaming and when you fail, either you can just give up because you failed, or you again play and then you again try to win. So every single time that you have failed and you have lost a match, it again gives you that energy that no, 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 I want to win this match. So I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to try this. I'm going to work this way out. I'm going to try a different method to it. So in a way, it keeps you engaged and thriving to win, which is a very positive way to look at life, because everybody wants to have a good life and win in their own respective disciplines. So
And
that
so Harsh, when you started about 5, 6 years ago, India was just starting in online gaming, and of course China, South Korea were doing well. What's the scene like today, and where's gaming? What's happening with gaming now?
gaming in India has picked up big time, especially with mobile games and job work related to gaming industry. So execution, training, streaming, shoutcasting, talents. India is producing them in masses. Also, the developers, game developers are big time, big produce, and they're creating some great. Yesterday, I was watching this Ubisoft live, and Ubisoft is coming up with so many great games, and the where one of the offices are in Pune. So all the talent, all the game developers, also the media, gaming media is huge now in India. You will find all kind of news, all kind of 5 years ago, no, you have to ask in the community, oh, did you know about this? You have to pick up a call and ask somebody who is actually local from that scene, and they might be able to tell you. But now it is all covered. You have a huge media coverage for esports people. So that ways, I think every aspect of gaming is growing, and it is still not even 1% of what I think it can be, or what India has a potential of. Uh,
Well, now it'll be interesting to hear your message to parents, because a lot of parents are still worried about their kids gaming, but kids will not stop. What do you suggest? How should they, as a good parent, how should they, what can they do to make sure that these games become useful to children? How can they grow with it? Should the
so
parents also get into gaming? What do you
definitely,
suggest?
first suggestion would be that from me, that parents, please get your hands on any game that you like, play it with your friends. You have already been doing it with traditional sports. Please try and do it with this kind of games, and see what it does to your brain and how it functions, and what kind of energy it gives you. Secondly, for the kids and what they are worried for, I think to start with from young age, there are a lot of learning apps and learning games that parents should tell kids to focus on. If they start learning through these games and start learning through these gaming apps, probably they'll remember it for a long time, and they will also have clarity that probably a teacher might not be able to convey or convince. They have learned it by themselves while playing the game, so they are very much clear. So that is one thing. And second, if they are actually playing something that you don't like PUBG Mobile, or like something which has shooting in it, or something which you think is enticing violence in a person's mind, to start with, give them a limit, a time limit. Let's say for 2 hours or 1 hour you are allowed to play. If you want to play, give them that liberty to play, so that they understand where they want to land up. Not everybody can become Sachin Tendulkar, who is playing a cricket game. So this is the same competitive environment here as well. Not everybody can be at the top teams. So at that time, when they realize that they cannot be in a top team, either they can be a streamer. That is also like maximum 3-4 hours a day that people stream those games, and they have a huge community and fan following. If not, if you're playing for fun with your friends, with your colleagues, and to rank up for your satisfaction, give it 2 hours, 3 hours a day, and then just let it be. Do whatever makes you money, whatever is essential for your life. With that, you can have this as a hobby, like going and playing soccer for an hour. It's the same thing. So parents should take it in that ways. Also, I would like to give this message to parents that gamers and top tier players in esports, no matter which game, they have very high IQ. They are not here to fight. In fact, few of the most amazing plays are when they survive. They don't fight. They survive. They find that way that they are alive till the end. They don't go and take up fights, right? So those are the messages that once they also start seeing it deeply, they will understand that what gaming does is it grounds you. It makes you take a rational decision even when in a state of war. You know, somebody is hitting you and you have to take this decision that I don't have to hit him back. I probably have to survive and get away from here. Let him do whatever he wants. I want to win the game. My goal is to win the game, not to take a fight. So if the perspective is seen, it's a matter of perspective. If games are seen as inducing violence, I would also want to communicate that no gamer whatsoever, no gamer has as far as I know, and as much as I know in the industry, were violent in real life, like with guns, and have killed somebody or have done anything bad to anybody. No, they have been gaming, they have been enjoying with their friends, they have been partying up with their friends, they are even winning through games. They are making fortune through games. At the age of 14, somebody is a millionaire. Where this kind of opportunities weren't there before, unless you have won a lottery. But other than that, how such a young person would make such a big fortune? But this was because his brain, his IQ, and his dedication and his practice towards the game that got him there.
Looks like gaming has become a new religion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, it was great listening to you. I remember playing games only as a teenager and then somehow got over it. But I'm a big fan of learning games, particularly things like Duolingo. And there are many games that keep your mind fresh. Everything from Minesweeper to more recently Tandem. There are a lot of interesting. I find that it's a lot more fun learning using gamification and game-wise rather than trying to memorize or rather than trying to force yourself to learn a new art. Star Maker, many others, very interactive, very social. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in these kinds of things. Well,
yes,
again,
and
yeah.
today what we are seeing gaming industry is as only esports industry, where people are playing only PUBG or only games that are manufactured for people to play, but not for them to learn so much. But what people have to understand is that this industry, because it is so big, it will, and it is already evolving, and all the new tech will enable us to create certain kind of games which people have, which will give people luxury of learning at their own pace and at their own time and at their own convenience, which was not there before. Which was like, if I want to go to, if I want to pass 12th grade, I'll have to have 75% minimum attendance. I will have to attend all the lectures, whatever is there, I have to memorize or I have to understand and write it in the exams. This games is basically exams at every single point, every single step, if you see it that way. And when it is clubbed, when to learn, I can have module 1 and then a game about it, and that game will tell me everything about that module and make me realize that these are the best points that this module had, and based on that I'll be scored, I'll be rewarded, I'll be even given a chance to represent myself somewhere. Those avenues will open up people to learn at every stage and learn thoroughly and understand it thoroughly and be rewarded for the same. So they can feel content when they have achieved something. Like when I learned something, I scored 90%. I can be content enough, but that is after a year that I'm evaluated of what I have learned. But here it's like every single module can be evaluated, and
Continuous.
every
Yeah.
yes, and there the reward is. So at every step I can feel good about myself, not to wait till 1 year.
Yeah.
And if I'm not performing well, I can redo it without any allegations that I failed 12th grade, which may cause a lot of depressions in so many people's mind.
Yes.
But in
yes.
games, when I fail in game, I'm like, okay, next time I'll try it better. I'll try with different strategy. I'll try with different hero. I'll try with different teacher who will teach me, a different companion or a teammate. And also what gaming allows is a collaborative workspace or a learning environment, which not like when I'm in a school, I'm always competing. I'm not collaborating a lot. I'm competing that I want to have a better grade than him or her, or I want to be the first in the class. And probably sometimes I won't even take my I won't give my homework to anybody else because I don't want them to do better. I want myself to do better. But when it comes to gaming, it can be a collaborative environment where everybody's bits and pieces can be shared and can be used, resources can be reused, and everybody can learn from each other, and which is a very good significant way of learning, I believe, where people are learning from each other as well as whatever the material is. So
Great, great. So, Harsh, this is a lot of fun. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in learning more about gaming and its applications for various things, including training doctors, including training policemen, including training.
yes,
We are seeing that more and more. So, we'll have to call you back to discuss further once you actually implement some of these things at Neon Gaming Studios. And wishing you my very best. I'm so excited about the opportunities all this is presenting to everyone. And yeah, anybody in the audience, you have any questions, well, share Harsh's contact information and you can directly contact him on there, and we'll be back with new ideas soon. Have
yes.
a great day.
Thank you. And I would like to say thank you so much, Shankarda, for this interview and this setup, because this allows me to put my word forward in the space where everybody is able to be reached, and the message that that we can deliver to them, that is to co-create and to co-develop something for a better human kind. That's
Yes, indeed.
that's what we
Yes.
want to do. And that's where we are coming from. And hopefully we can achieve what we are looking for and what we are dreaming for. And
Yes, exactly, exactly.
bless us. Yeah.
See you then. Everybody becomes a winner.
Yeah.